What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to EP09. Alright, welcome back to the channel, everyone. Welcome back to EP09 Bodybuilding. We're going to start this one off today with an update from Keone Pearson. Now, Keone making an appearance at the Powerhouse Gym in Korea. Not the first time that Keone's actually traveled to Korea, and not your everyday place for a pro bodybuilder to go and make a guest appearance. But showing up here at 220 pounds. And you guys, we may as well ask the question right now, when will we see Keone Pearson decide to jump into an open show? You know, I actually have some expectation for a couple of guys doing an open show this year. I have an inkling that I think Keone might want to do an open show this year, just given the fact that, like I said, sitting here at 220 pounds, I mean, what more does the guy have to prove in the 212 division? You know, not to say that stacking up a few more titles isn't going to be nice to do, but with that being said, Keone has expressed an interest in wanting to do open shows in the past, and I think that sitting here at the current shape that he is at, when it comes to winning the 212 title again, he's going to be very difficult for anybody to come in and defeat. Keone is definitely one athlete that does keep things pretty tight in the offseason. Him and Patrick Torr now have a number of seasons under their belt working together, and they definitely found the formula for success here. I mean, who is going to come in and defeat such a dominant champion like Keone Pearson in the 212 division? There's some good competitors there, don't get me wrong, but Keone just seems to be on an absolute other level here. And it does beg the question, like I said, when is he going to go and open, and how could he really do in an open show? You know, that's a very good question here. Although he is a dominant champion here in the 212 division, without actually taking the time to outgrow the 212 division, I'm not really sure. He would definitely be able to defeat guys on shape here, but from what we saw at the Prague Pro with Martin Fitzwater versus Chris Bumstead, clearly size does matter. Actually, I'd like to see the comparison between Keone Pearson and Chris Bumstead from the Prague Pro. That might be a good one for Mark's Max Muscle. Mark, if you're watching, think about it. But without a doubt here, Keone Pearson, I think, was one of the greatest physiques to walk on stage at the 2024 Mr. Olympia in really any division. I mean, he has the proportions, he has the size, he has the shape, he has the roundness, he has the fullness, he has the conditioning. Keone Pearson really is the full package, you guys, and I do think that when he does decide to make the jump to the open division, that we could be looking at another Derek Lunsford here, where Keone would be in the running, I feel, for an Olympia title someday. Now, that's not to say that Keone's height might not be a disadvantage in the open division, but, you know, he is definitely bigger than some of the other competitors that we've seen go from 212 into the open, you know, namely Sean Clarita, and Keone, of course, defeating Sean Clarita twice over now on the Olympia stage. You guys, it is a very, very exciting prospect here, and this was a fantastic guest posing here from Keone Pearson. So you guys let me know what you think about this guest posing, and you guys let me know how you think Keone Pearson would do in the open division. Definitely a very exciting prospect. And this is the kind of competitor that Keone Pearson would have to come in and find a way to defeat. Samson Dauda, our current reigning Mr. Olympia champion, now 13 weeks out from the Arnold Classic, Ohio, where he hopes to take home his second Arnold Classic title. And you guys, sitting here at 325 pounds. Absolutely incredible shape. Samson says here, it's all about refining the process of what we do, making the body more efficient at maintaining the mass while chipping deeper into the details. Feeling completely comfortable walking around at this size at 325 pounds. 3 years ago, this was a struggle. Now, this feels normal to me. So you guys, this is now something where Samson Dauda is clearly still in a position where he feels like he can make improvements here. Sitting at 325 pounds in a previous season, you know, he was down around the 305 pound mark at the Olympia, came back up to 325 here, and they say every time your physique reaches a certain weight, getting back to that weight is that much more comfortable every time. Regan Grimes mentioned that when he finally hit 300 pounds, when he went back to that 300 pounds, it did seem to feel a lot more comfortable. And it seems that Samson now sitting at a comfortable 325 pounds. Being able to make some improvements is definitely the game plan here. So, what improvements can Samson make? That's the real question here. You know, the midsection, I think, can be dialed in a little bit more from what we saw at the Olympia. I think he could come in a little bit tighter when it comes to the abs in particular. You know, the lower back was pretty good at the Olympia. Might be able to get that a little bit drier. Hamstrings, of course, glutes, always an area that Samson can improve on. But really just overall refinement of the physique when it comes to conditioning. If Samson can continue to bring in conditioning that is better every time he hits the stage, then I mean, that is definitely going to be enough when it comes to improvements for Samson to continue to dominate at the top of the open division here. So Samson looking very good here. I do expect Samson to come in and win his Arnold Classic title. But you know, that's actually an interesting point. We have Samson going up against Andrew Jacked, we know, who is confirmed for the Arnold Classic. James Hollingshead also confirmed for doing the show. But you know, if anybody was to come in and defeat Samson, I wonder what that would say when it comes to his run as an Olympia champion. Does that make Samson vulnerable when it comes to stepping back on that Olympia stage to come in and win the title? Is Andrew Jacked even capable of defeating Samson Dauda? And you know, at the Olympia, a lot of people say that Andrew did not get a fair shake when it came to being compared with some of the top guys there. Being able to see that comparison this time around, I mean, there's not going to be anywhere to hide. Samson and Andrew, definitely the top names going into this Arnold Classic. But you know what? I don't think it's just conditioning that Samson could improve on. I do think that Samson's frame could hold another couple of pounds of muscle, which is very exciting to think. You know, a guy that walked on stage at 305 pounds could still put on a bit more size here. I think the arms, he could put on a bit more size. Shoulders, chest, I think. Quads, I mean, the quads are ridiculous at this point. But you guys, this is very exciting to see a current Mr. Olympia champion coming out to compete outside of the Olympia. But of course, we all know that Samson just wants to compete, and clearly being the Olympia champion does not change the fact that this guy just loves bodybuilding. He will take the opportunity to step on stage if he has it. Plus, you know, the Arnold Classic having the prize money that it is, last year being $500,000, definitely doesn't hurt. And I won't be surprised if Arnold ends up increasing that again this year. So a lot of money on the line, a lot of reputation points on the line for Samson. You guys let me know what you think about this update from Samson Dauda. And do you think that Samson might end up actually losing this show? I personally don't think that that's going to happen. I do have Samson in the winner's circle for the Arnold Classic here, but that's not to say that Andrew Jacked might not give him a bit of a push, because we know that things are judged just a little bit differently on that Arnold Classic stage. Aesthetics and shape play a huge part when it comes to the judging card here. But you guys let me know what you think about that down below. All right, last up here, we've got an unfortunate update here from Elliott Dermond, who is famed to be the best amateur bodybuilder in the world. Elliott only 2 weeks out from NPC Nationals, where he was going to attempt to earn his pro card for the third time now, I do believe, had to pull out of the show here. Due to health reasons, you can see the picture here on the right, Elliott had to check himself in to the hospital here. The shots that you can see here on the left are his pictures at 2 weeks out of the show, where, I mean, it's probably pretty safe to say that he would have come in and actually won that NPC Nationals and finally got his pro card here. But Elliott's had a very rough road here. Before even turning pro, this guy has just been littered with health concerns here. Now, after checking himself into the hospital here, he actually offered quite an explanation. So I'm going to read this for you guys, and I think it's especially important for people to pay attention to what Elliott had to say here. He says here, "It saddens me to announce that my competition season is over for 2024. I want to be as transparent as possible in the hopes that a young man might learn from my mistakes and experiences. At the beginning of the week, I checked myself into the hospital with a variety of alarming symptoms that I could no longer just attribute to prep or being sick. I had extremely low blood pressure, dizziness, lightheaded, a heart rate that hadn't been under 110 for a week, chest pains, muscle spasms, difficulty breathing, extreme fatigue and weakness, inability to sleep, alongside a few more. Upon arriving at the hospital, it was discovered that I had serious blood clots in my lungs and heart that were putting my heart at serious risk, as well as rhabdomyolysis, also known as rhabdo. If you guys followed me for a minute, you know this is my 4th time having rhabdo, and this honestly came as a shock to me, and for the first time in my life seemed like the minor issue at hand. So I'm going to have something to say about that here in a minute. At first, I was hopeful I would still be able to compete in December, but with how long of a hospital stay it would be and the advice from those in my corner and doctors, we decided to put my health first over something that will be there next year. I want the message taken away from my mistakes is that the basics do work. You do not need crazy high doses, and the next best thing will never match the hype. I was taking far too much, and I do not necessarily even mean AAS. I was, without my coach's permission, trying and taking products and compounds that I believe, and medical professionals believe, caused all this to happen, at least to a certain degree. In the same breath, I was making mistakes daily of overdoing my cardio, over-dieting, overtraining, using too much caffeine, taking on too much workload, etc. If I would have just followed what was in my email every week from my coach, then I do not believe this would have happened. I am deeply sorry to everyone that supported me, encouraged me, looked forward to seeing me on stage, and helped me along my journey. I'm getting healthier every day, and I'll have an amazing 2025, which I'm grateful to have the opportunity. Okay, so let's get into it a little bit here. Now, Elliott competed just a few short weeks ago at the NPC Monster Classic, where, of course, he did win that show, and he did qualify for nationals here. And you can see this guy was in unbelievable condition here. Absolutely fantastic. You know, he has a lot of prospect here, and he's only 25 years old, which makes it even more concerning the fact that he's going through all of these health concerns at a very, very young age here. Like I said, he said here that it came as a shock to him that he actually had rhabdo for the 4th time. But in the same quote, he actually says that he was overtraining, over-dieting, he was doing more cardio, and doing things outside of the plan that his coach laid out for him. You guys, when you hire a good coach, this is exactly why you hire a good coach. It's one thing to dial things back from what a coach is telling you to do, but for Elliott to do more than what his coach was actually asking without actually talking to his coach. And I mean, look, maybe they did have that conversation and his coach told him no. We have no idea. The fact of the matter is, Elliott made decisions on his own here and landed himself in the hospital, you guys. And it cost him his 2024 opportunity to earn his pro card here. Not to mention the fact that, like I said, this guy is 25 years old. How many years is he taking off of his life by pushing things too far? I mean, we know that bodybuilding is going to end up costing guys potentially years off their life as it is, just with doing the, I guess, moderate doses that a lot of pros do here. To continuously push the envelope like this, you know, it does speak to several things within bodybuilding when it comes to body dysmorphia, when it comes to the champion mindset. Some things positive, some things negative. In this case, costing Elliott the price of really coming close to death, you know. Absolutely something that you would have think someone would learn after having rhabdo for the 4th time. And look, he actually put on his Instagram page the last time that it landed him in the hospital that he had a new appreciation for life. You know, how quickly we can sometimes forget, especially in the pursuit of greatness. And, you know, this guy has been pushed and, you know, I'm sure has been told on many occasions here that he is destined for greatness in bodybuilding here. And I do think that that's still true, but hopefully the lessons are learned this time that he cannot push the envelope to the point where, you know, it might be a genetic thing as well. Maybe he's just pushing his genetics to a point where they just can't handle the compounds that he's giving them. And who knows what else this guy was doing, you know? Now, I hope for Elliott's sake that this is finally a lesson learned. You know, nobody wants to see this happen in bodybuilding, you guys. We see far too many bodybuilders that are gone well before their time here. There is no need to push the envelope, especially at 25 years old here. He has nothing but time ahead of him. You have to allow your body to take the time to get to the point where you can still be a champion without sacrificing significantly your health markers here. And he is diligent when it comes to his health markers. I mean, I know this guy has been known to get his regular blood work. He does have a good coach, but it seems like it just got away from him this time, and hopefully this is not something that happens again. So he does hope to compete here in 2025. Hopefully he does get all of his health markers checked here, and he does check all of those boxes before he does decide to step on stage again. I very, very highly doubt at this point that he will go back to doing, what he did in order to land himself in the hospital here, you guys. But I definitely want to wish Elliott the best of luck here. Hopefully he can get through this. We can see him on stage. He can be as healthy as possible here. And he finally does earn that pro card. But I'm going to wrap up the video right here for you guys. Let me know what you think about these current transgressions when it comes to Elliott Dermond and pushing these limits. How many more times are we going to see this happen to competitive bodybuilders before lessons are learned? But again, thank you all guys for tuning into the channel. Make sure to like and subscribe here on EP09 Bodybuilding. That's it for me in this video. We'll catch you guys in the next one.